Hello and welcome to Unit 3, Elements and Atoms for Chemistry 1. This is the first video for Lesson 1. So in this video, you are going to need your Flynn periodic table that I gave you in class. If you do not have this table, there are 4 pictures, 2 from the front and 2 from the back, that you will need to reference. If you can come to the school, I do have these available for you in the office, but you should have received it if you were in class last week. So what we are going to do is look at what is an element, and we're going to talk about that. So if you recall from chapter or unit 1, matter, we defined an element, and we said it was a pure substance. So pure substances cannot be broken down by physical means, but we separated out pure substances into elements and compounds. So we're going to kind of combine those two questions that we had. Can it be broken down by physical means? Can it be broken down by chemical means? An element is a pure substance that cannot be broken down by physical or chemical means. So we cannot do a physical change to it to pull pieces apart. We cannot do a reaction on it in order to chemically separate it into any other smaller pieces. So this is basically the end of the line when we're talking about matter and being able to describe its physical properties. So we know that all of these elements are organized in the periodic table. Periodic table. I'm going to start abbreviating periodic table because we're going to say it so many times and have to write it out as the PT. And each element on the periodic table has a unique name and symbol. On our Flynn periodic table, everything has permanent names. So if we have a 1 or 2 letters for the symbol, it is a permanent name. And if somebody were to discover a new element, it is given a temporary 3-letter symbol name. And that's until the scientists can get together and vote on a permanent name. So this is a collection of people voting to give things its permanent name. So recently, about 2 years ago, they added new names on the periodic table, and those are the ones that are down here. So things like livermorium, tennessine, oganesson, these all had 3 symbol names until their permanent names are voted on. So there's a lot of information on this table. Anything that is dark in color, black, blue, or green, on the front page of the table, they occur naturally. The ones that are a gray shade are ones that are synthetic or man-made. So we have to make them in a lab. They do not exist in nature or found in nature. So if we were to count, 90 elements occur naturally. The rest are synthetic or man-made. And right now we have 118 named elements. But that does not mean that there are no more to discover. The periodic table is an evolving document, which means that we can change information on it as needed, but we have to make sure that we go through the scientific method in order to make sure that that is the best information that we have at the time. And if we start looking at names on the periodic table, we can see some things that might look familiar. Like we all know oxygen. We all know nitrogen and carbon. But a lot of those names, like iron, if we look at iron symbol, it's Fe, sodium is Na, potassium is K. Those are elements that were known in ancient times: silver and gold, mercury, lead, tin. Their names don't really match their symbols all that well. And names on the periodic table are based on ancient names. So if we take gold, gold symbol is Au, but gold at one time was known as aurum, A-U-R-U-M, and it means dawn in Latin, like the sunrise, dawn, because of its yellowish color. Sodium was known as natrium. That's where the Na comes from, which means salt producing. So a lot of these things, lead was plumbum. Plumbum refers, well, we have plumbing and plumbers. That is because in ancient Rome, they used lead for pipes to bring water. We can see that they are named after some people, especially the synthetic ones. So Rutherfordium, Seaborgium, Einsteinium, Curium, Fermium, Mendelevium, Lawrencium, those are all named after people. And usually you have to be dead in order to have an element named after you. There's even a couple from mythology and religion. So if we look at thorium, promethium, those are named after mythological people. There are ones named after places, like Europium and francium, germanium. There's even holmium, terbium, ytterbium. Ytterbium is named after a very small town in Sweden called Ytterby, which is where its YB symbol comes from. So, named after a lot of different things. Our next video is going to look at one way we categorize elements.